Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the Throwback podcast. I'm Mark from the Throwback store and I'm here with Ginger Shaq and a special guest who is going to introduce herself right now.
Hi, I'm Bryn. I'm from NBA UK Fans, part of the wonderful team there that includes Ginger Shaq amongst the other Rich and Jimmy. And I'd like to also give a special mention in that team to our sixth man, Nathan Caton. But yeah, I'm Bryn from NBA UK Fans if you don't know me.
Awesome.
What he's saying there, to be quite nice, is that was the professional answer. What he is, he's the crown prince of Dubai. He's Mr. Yeezy. He's the chef. He's the cook lord. He's got that much heat. I can't even look at him. I burn with his complexion.
Yeah. And just before we started, Ginger Shaq said Jimmy was a shit plasterer. So let's just leave it there with that. This is definitely.
I don't know what's worse, his plastering or his take on Lowry marketing.
Probably he's plastering. Shout out to Jimmy though. Right. You have a plan, don't you, Ginger Shaq? What's the plan for the day? Go on. You start.
The plan is what we're going to do is we gave you a week gap last week because nothing was happening and quite frankly couldn't be asked.
Yeah.
Because none of you watch it anyway. So this is for the 42 people that watch the pod.
And it's it's episode 42, which is ironic.
Al Horford episode, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a prick. Carry on.
So what we're going to cover is we're going to cover free agency because obviously for me and Bryn, it's been a bit of an interesting one. Like we're signing players that, put it this way, the NBA store will probably stock jerseys for, which is like fucking bizarre.
There is definitely that, but it's like you're building a team in 2013, though, isn't it? That's what you're doing.
Let's not. We'll get to people building teams of bygone eras when we talk about the fakers.
Fakers.
Yeah. It is a worry about the age, but that is a really good point in terms of I might be able to pick up a Bulls jersey that doesn't say Markkanen on in Dubai for the first time since I've been there. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Do you know what? Fanatics are done now, aren't they? Fanatics are done with the NBA, so everything's going to be going through Decathlon from what I can understand, especially in the UK. I don't know what it's like worldwide, but in Europe, it's going to be going through Decathlon. So maybe they'll stock better jerseys. Who knows? Maybe you can get any player's name as opposed to having to pay an extra 20 quid for...
I mean, I'm obviously... My ideal jersey purchase is either yourself or Ellie.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm going down to London the end of the month for the GG.
Yeah.
And I've got to go to the NBA store because it'd be stupid. And I am hoping I can go there and get a custom because I can't, as I've said before, I can't purchase an NBA jersey with my name on, like my full second name.
Yeah, because it's...
So I'm hoping having it in store, I can kind of sort of go, you say 10 letters, but is there any chance you can get 11 on there? And I'll probably get a custom. Hopefully there won't be a new jersey because we haven't even seen it and it won't be stocked yet. So I'll probably, get a nice Red Bulls jersey with Crookshank on and hopefully and just hang it up with the rest of the financial portfolio.
Yeah.
But,
they're definitely doing that, yeah. Have they got the personalizations in there?
Yeah,
yeah. So I know that it's on site. It's on site personalizations. How good they are, I don't know. They can't be worse than Fanatics because you can tell the person that's printing your jersey that's the wrong fucking letters.
Yeah.
And can I ask why? Can I ask why I've got an Orlando Magic jersey with Miami Vice fucking numbers on it? You pelmet.
Yeah. I had one a few years ago before Fanatics that was it was ordered for my 21st birthday, I think, and it was like it was Adidas. So when it was kind of like they were still kind of stitched on.
Yeah.
But the name on the back was like plastic print.
Yeah.
It fell off in like 2 weeks. I was like, how have you got this on the front and then you've chosen to use that?
You just put the numbers and so the name and the number at the front was stitched and the number at the back was stitched, wasn't it? But then just a random name. It's like they must have shipped in all the numbers and said, right, if somebody wants a custom, we're just going to screen print this on the back and just hope that nobody knows what's going on.
Because I got a Benny the Bull jersey. So like a couple of years ago for my birthday, like, I think it was my mate Shugs and my mate Paul. Like they bought me a like Benny jersey. And again, it was stitched at the front, like classic like swingman, stitched, and then it was just screen printed on the back.
Yeah, it's shocking.
But yeah, so back to get back to the tangent we were on. After we've slated the company that basically we had an endorsement deal with, Bryn.
Yeah.
I said before Fanatics. I said before Fanatics.
Yeah, good.
I did it.
I like that.
But right, so obviously for the Bulls, the big thing is we'll hit the big three. So we've got Lonzo, we've got DeMar DeRozan, and we've got the Caruso. And as of all we've lost is Garrett Temple and Thad Young.
Are you keeping Thad Young?
He's been traded. He was part of the signing trade with DeMar.
Oh, was he? I love Thaddeus Young. What a player!
He's a loss, definitely. Particularly on if you try. I was trying to put together a starting five, and it was quite tricky. But any starting five that I put together, the defense was
dead,
questionable at best.
Yeah.
I think he's a big loss at that end.
Lonzo's good defensively, though. I like Lonzo's defensive end. I just think the team that you put together now is a team that will win games and potentially you'll probably get to the playoffs. But that's it, isn't it? You just can't see that team. For all the big names in the team, it just doesn't look a mentally strong team, that to me. It looks like somebody will wither in the playoffs. Like,
it doesn't fit. Nothing seems to fit mentally. I know that they'll try and work it out over time, but I couldn't put together a five that I was like, oh yeah, this will work really well. It was either like defense or spacing. Yeah. I know that Lonzo last year had a big uptick in his 3-point shooting, but that's for 1 year. I need to see that again and again and again. Otherwise, I know you've got Levine and Vucevic can shoot the three, but there's a lot of people trying to go inside, I think, in any team that you put together there.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've obviously got Levine, who is hypothetically on an expiring contract. Because he spoke out today and this week and spoke about wanting to look at being respected by the Bulls and being given a decent contract extension. And you kind of look at the money that's been given to Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan, and you start to sort of go, where, is the cap space there? But what is worth noting is the Bulls had, and it's never talked about, but Bulls fans will know it. Everyone talked about the Bismack Biyombo contract. They talked about Mozgov's contract. The worst contract in the league has been Christian Felicia.
Yeah, facts.
Because we signed him, I think it was like 3 year, 50 million, something mental. And I think he averaged 4 minutes a game.
Yeah.
It was, I'll Google it, but it was an awful contract. And it really affected the Bulls but equally, we now can't offer Lowry Marketing a big stack because.
But do you think Levine's a max contract player?
I don't think he should be getting a max.
But he's going to want one.
Yeah, 100%. If you look at that's the problem you've got is some people that don't deserve them get them. So any player or any agent goes, right, here's a list of players that have got them. I'm better than them and them. And them.
Yeah. You look at the contract Mike Conley got at the Grizzlies.
You've just got to.
Does he not always just get them? Does Mike Conley not always just get good contracts?
Do you know what? I like Mike Conley. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great glue guy for a team as well. I think he's last year at the Jazz. I think it's shown how important he is. But there's a difference between being important to your team and being a max contract guy. There's a massive difference between that. Levine has been a big fish in a small pond, and you've got to take that into account because he's had a lot of the ball.
Yeah. I think he just.
So I'm just looking at Christian Fleischer's contract now, and it was a 4-year contract for around about 30 million.
Yeah, for nothing, literally doing nothing.
Well,
absolutely nothing.
I bet he could get. He's tall, isn't he? So he can get stuff from high shelves. He can change light bulbs.
He did take a picture of Ronaldinho at the Jordan statue, so they might have got a few likes because they were Brazilian.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. That's what I did. Well, another thing, just going off free agency. Well, we won't know. We'll stick to free agency. Let's laugh at Drummond for a moment. Can we do that? Like,
I went back through. I found an article that was like the recap of the story between him and Embiid, and I was just laughing my socks off at it last night. Like the way they were going back and forward at each other and like screaming at each other and getting each other ejected. And I think one of the tweets was about rent space in Drummond's head, and I was like, that just hits it on the head. Literally nails it on the head. So he's going to have to really, really suck his ego into you and take it down a little.
But is that an upgrade for the Sixers? Obviously, we offloaded Dwight Howard and we've brought in Drummond. Do you see that as an upgrade? Do you see that
it's like swap? It's what is it?
Is it 6 of one, half a dozen of the other kind of situation?
I mean, you've got rid of Dwight Howard, and now you've got a guy with massively hairy shoulders.
Well,
that's the only change.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers were better with Howard.
Do you think that? Yeah, I think the Lakers were better with Howard, but Howard never played as many minutes as Drummond played for the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like, they proper threw Drummond in the deep end, didn't they, and expected him just to fit.
Just because LeBron was not playing, I think.
Yeah, and he isn't that kind of player. He needs a system, doesn't he, Drummond? As you've seen, like, he played his best basketball when he was in a system that fitted him.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the system at the Sixers? Probably not. But
you can't ask that as a off-the-bench guy. You can't ask for a system to be moulded around.
Exactly. So what do we... I don't know. I don't think we've lost anything in the trade. I think the Sixers are probably, they've not got any better and they've not got any worse, but everybody around us seems to be getting better. And I think that's the problem that we're going to have next season.
The biggest thing for me is obviously you have to have certain game plans for certain players and how you play. And I can't help but think that you're going to grow a culture into your team where you're going to have so much of the opposite plan when you've got Embiid on the court to when you've got Drummond on the court.
Yeah.
In terms, like you basically need to field Drummond with a completely different five and have an entire different playbook.
You do. That's what I was saying. It's trying to fit.
You know what I mean? Like it's. But equally, I'll be excited. The guy's an all-star, regardless of what we say. Drummond is an all-star. So we'll see.
We don't lose anything on the defensive end, do we? I think that's the thing. I think defensively with Drummond there, or with Embiid, obviously Embiid's a much better defender. But rim protection-wise, I think we're not losing anything. We're always going to have that rim protector on the court. So I don't know. Let's wait and see. Sixers will
the other one we'll just quickly dip into is Kyle Lowry in Miami.
Miami've done some good business, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've got Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker. I'm sure they've got signed somebody else as well. Like they're one of the few teams like the Bulls who have managed to sign players instead of them just joining the Lakers for like vet mins.
They kept Butler, they kept Duncan.
Yeah,
the Butler contract, they've paid him, ain't they?
But they love him in that. He's that culture, isn't he? He's that work hard. Like, he fits Pat Riley down to a T. Like, Pat Riley will love having Jimmy Butler there. He holds players accountable. Like, regardless of what you think last season about the Heat, like, I think the expectations of all teams last year were a bit strange coming out the bubble, don't you think? It was all a bit like odd, last season.
I still feel the same about the Heat though, as I do a little bit with the Bulls in terms of I think they've done really well, I don't know if they've done enough. You don't want to play them in a playoff series. Don't get me wrong; they're going to be a tough out, but I still don't think they've done enough. And when you look at the fact that they're going to be paying Lowry $30 million when he's 38, which is crazy. I think that's interesting that they gave him 3 years. And the other part of it is Nunn. I was looking at Nunn. I know he didn't have as big of a role last year, but he still shot 38%, 39% from three. He's a young guy. I think they turned down 4.7 million on him to keep him. And I was just like, that seems like a bit of a strange one, because the year before he was obviously flying, and I know he's had a bit of a downer, but I think the Lakers have really sort of...
I think they've got an absolute steal. Like, my mate lives in Miami, and he was big on Nunn. Obviously, he's big on Hero as well, but I don't know about Tyler Hero. I thought he was going to be great, and he really frustrates me now. I think he's just been found out, and it's that kind of second season last year. It was that thing of the first season, you don't know what you're getting, so everybody's a little bit weary. You don't kind of know. And then once you found out, people know how to guard him now, and he's not figured out a way to kind of navigate that. Like, hopefully in the off-season this year, he's worked on his game and he'll come back with something else. But last year, it was just a non-starter. He wasn't physical enough. He wasn't big enough. Got bullied a bit. So let's see how... It seems like the Lakers have traded for everybody in the world, in the West and the East. It's been a little bit, everybody's picked up one or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the West has seemed very quiet, but I don't know if that's because equally we are in a world where the main rhetoric is LeBron and the Lakers. That's the major talking point. I put a tweet out last night, and I'm yet to find out if it's correct or not. I personally think that this Lakers roster will have, like, current team wise, will have the most All-Star appearances of any roster ever.
Oh, I don't know about that. What about, like, the Lakers when they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
See, that's what the variant is. But combined, like, that whole roster has got 55 All-Star appearances.
Which one? The Lakers one?
Yeah, so the new one. He's got 55 All-Star appearances.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's got 54 on his own, though. So, yeah, I don't know.
The Warriors must have had a fair few when they...
KD, Clay, Steph. Steph hasn't had as many All-Star appearances as you think, you know.
No, but they also...
Even then, if you say KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond, even if they had 10 All-Star appearances each.
And Cousins, they had Cousins on there, didn't they, for a year? So that must have been close.
Yeah, can't be far off.
I know you're right up there. And they also, like, the strange thing for the Lakers for me is everyone said once they did Westbrook, they were like, ooh, they're going to have to add, like, loads of veteran minimum players that can shoot the three now and stuff. And instead, so I said this to Dean yesterday when I was chatting to him, they've added young guys that can shoot the three, that if in a couple of years, like when Westbrook's done, they can still be there, like Monk and Nunn.
I love Monk.
Yeah, they shoot 39 combined from three. So instead of going and getting a load of guys that are just going to disappear after a year if they get a ring,
like Ginger Shaq.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think they've done really well, really, really well.
I think the Lakers have done really well. Really, 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 really well.
And Ariza as well, I think. I know he's old, but he'll definitely contribute something when it comes to crunch time.
Definitely. So what are we up to next? Where are we going? What's happening?
So obviously I seen it off Boston Brit. The NBA has released 7. So obviously, first off, we'll talk about the NBA logo and the swoosh being diamond.
Oh yeah.
I called that. Just saying. Big up the 2K UK fam for sending me the contact on that.
Definitely.
But there's 3 teams that have had jerseys released. Now, we're football fans. So 2 years ago, Nike done Nike Air.
Who does Bryn support? Bryn, who do you support?
It's a push to call it football. I'm Stoke City fan.
Oh God, Robbie Williams. Is Robbie Williams a Stoke City fan?
He's a Port Vale fan.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Who's famous and who's a Stoke? Apart from yourself, obviously.
Yeah, I'm really up there. There's Nick, and I think there's a comedian called Nick Hancock.
Oh, Nick Hancock, who used to be on They Think It's All Over.
Yeah, that you're really struggling. Although, do you know what's weird about people always say this? Who's famous? There's been some really weird, like there was a magazine once where Busta Rhymes was wearing a Stoke shirt on the front of like a rap magazine, and there's also a picture of Pele in a Stoke shirt. So everyone and Sugar Ray Leonard. So everyone just says, yeah, fans, just Stoke fans. Yeah, in Stoke shirts. But no, nobody really. Robbie Williams he grew up literally by Vale Park. So although he lost interest and bought 3 boxes at Chelsea and knocked them all into one at one point. So
fucking hell,
wasn't that much of a Vale fan. Yeah.
But yeah, so my point I was making was I think Chelsea had one, PSG, Tottenham, Barcelona, and they had like the Nike Air logo. So it was Nike and then the Air, like synonymous for us from the back of like a Jordan 4 or like a Jordan 5, that kind of thing. And the 3 jerseys that have been released is obviously the New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, and the Golden State Warriors. Now I'm sure Mark will do that magical thing where he brings them up on the screen.
Yeah,
we'll all be like, ta-da!
Yeah, what happens.
But equally, now we spent a lot of time on this pod mocking the Celtics and their jersey choices.
Oh, fucking hell. They've not done much here, have they?
So they had the opportunity to do something historic. And they went white and green.
What I don't understand with it is, what are them like shoulder paddy bits on it? Do you know what I mean? They've got like green bits at the top, haven't they? Like, what's that about?
When I looked at it at first, I don't mind the shorts for the Celtics. Yeah. I don't mind the shorts, but yeah, they've not. I mean, none of them have been really adventurous, have they? My first impressions were I never loved them logos on the football shirts. I thought they were a bit weird because for me, that's all about like. For me, there's a difference between what you wear when you're playing sport and then almost like leisure wear. So I always found it a bit strange. And I'm the same with this. The diamond, I think, is unbelievable. Like I'm all over. But I don't know if I like this logo. I think what you've done. The other thing is, obviously, the new logo. The logo will be on the back, won't it? As they have been. Yeah.
But are they not having sponsors then?
Oh, yeah. There'll still be sponsors. I just don't think they put them on for the press release.
But why? Because surely, if you're releasing a press release for the season, surely if I was a sponsor of the Warriors, I'd be like, I'm paying you all this money and you're not willing to put my sponsor on this, the first press release of a new jersey.
You go, we'll release it, we'll let you pre-order it, and then we'll put a vulgar sponsor on it.
Absolute wankers, a lot of them.
Because there was this, happened, if he was Inter Milan, they released their shirt and everyone was like, that's fire. And then they've got a new sponsor and everyone's like, what is that? And now they've had to sell an option with no sponsor on. So, I mean, there might be sponsors on. Obviously, the Boston Celtics, I think it was last year, signed a 4-year deal with Vistaprint. So that should be on the jersey. But the nicest out of the 3 for me, and I'd probably cop, is the Warriors.
Yeah, I like the Warriors a lot. I really do. I really like that. I like the Knicks, because it's classic, isn't it? But I'm just going to slag the Celtics off forever. So
I'm just going to say you can't like the Knicks one because it's classic, and then say the Celtics one they haven't done anything with it because the Celtics have done the same as the Knicks.
Yeah, but the Celtics do the same every month in, month out, year in, year out. At least the Knicks went a little bit adventurous and off cuff with some of the.
I mean, to be fair, Bryn, you listen to the pod, mate. Like, if even if the Celtics release the most fire jersey known to man, Mark's answer would be, "Oh, it's bloody shite, though, isn't it? Same thing, same day in, day out, same shite."
I'm
I don't know if you can release a really good green jersey. Oh, and that's not true. I've got the Doncic one. That's really, really nice.
Yeah. There you go. Go.
Maybe not.
Derrick Rose, Chicago Bulls green jersey.
Yeah, true. Warriors one's a bit nixy though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit. I thought it was a bit like a mixture between the Pistons and like Philly and like.
What it is Philly, isn't it?
Yeah,
Philadelphia Warriors. That's the colorway, isn't it? It's the Philadelphia Warriors colorway.
It's just like they put the yellow on it to be like, no, we still are like we're Golden State. Like
it's like what Wilt used to play in. I've not.
Warriors is decent. The rest of them remains to be seen. We need to see more jerseys.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they're only meant to be releasing them free, which is a bit sad because
really?
I'd like to have thought.
Surely
a couple more teams could have got some.
Yeah.
More. That's it. Just those three.
Yeah. So apparently it's them three because they're the three teams that banded together and created the NBA and had it where it was at in the the 75th anniversary, and obviously the Bulls weren't founded till '66, so they missed out.
G Shaq dropping facts.
Yeah, G Shaq dropping no large. Actually,
I only remember '66. This year my mum was born, so I'm like, all right, yeah.
The World Cup won it. We won the World Cup as well.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah, like an important one.
So obviously we are Kicks advocates on this podcast. This is recording on Wednesday, the 4th of August.
Yeah.
So yesterday was Yeezy Day, and I copped like 3 pairs. But we don't talk about Yeezys to Mark because he hates me for them.
I don't like. Do you know what? I've got 1 pair of Yeezys, but I don't know.
Put it this way: this time last year, I had none.
Yeah, Dean's gone all out in 12 months.
Kendrick, none.
Kendrick, none.
Well, I am definitely going to get them Fragment Travis Scott's.
You going for the highs or the lows?
The highs all day. Because I've got the highs in the first Travis Scott, so
they're the best shoes in the world.
Yeah, totally. Do you know the only problem is with mine now, because I've worn them so much, they look worn, and it's a bit like, oh, why didn't it just work? But at the same time, were your kicks? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't wear them enough, but it's because I'm like really OCD, just because the details on them are just yeah. So I get what you're saying with the high. I'm usually team Jordan 1 high massively, but I think they've got the color blocking a little bit wrong on them.
I agree at the toe box.
Yeah.
I agree, but just because I've got the other ones, it's like I need a picture with them both together, don't I? Is that worth $1.50? Who knows? But hey, here we are, aren't we? You know what I mean?
Also, keep in mind that the lows are meant to be 4 times as much stock of the lows. So if you did want to get them for retail, again, though, with the lows, I think that, and in my head, the best shoe would be a combination of the both of them. I want the swoosh to be black on the lows.
Yeah.
So I don't think either of them are perfect, which is why I would not buy them for resale. But I'm going to be going all out for the lows, definitely. They didn't drop in Dubai yet, the highest, so I'm still hoping there's a chance that they'll release them. They didn't drop on sneakers either, did they?
No, the lows are dropping in the UK on 13th, I think.
Yeah, 13th.
I've got a couple of people who know we've got a pair of highs. Well, they're waiting on a pair of highs in the States.
Yeah, I've got a friend who had them like 3 weeks early, and I was just like, he said to me, so I was reading all the stuff that was saying that it's not even releasing on sneakers, it's not going to go to tier 0 retailers. And I messaged my mate and I was like, have you seen these rumors? And he was literally wearing them. And I was like, that can't be true then. He's obviously got them from some Connect in Denver.
Yeah. A couple of the guys who I know, the guy who I got the Sale 4s and the Union 4s from, he's got the Fragment. Oh, they're on the way. They're on the way to him in my size, but I'm just trying to haggle at the moment to kind of keep my cards close to my chest and not. But
I think there might be a few more releases of them. I think some shops will have a raffle at some point because the Jordan store in Dubai, they've got a new store, so they've got a new system, and they'll post a silhouette of a shoe and a timer, and there's a silhouette of a Jordan 1 with 3 days on. So I think they're going to drop them late and then drop the lows as well. But yeah, maybe the price. I can't see the price dipping too much. There's not going to be that much stock. They're really low stock. So
yeah, fingers crossed.
Barter away.
Yeah, it's just one of them. It's just so frustrating because you know that people who aren't necessarily sneakerheads are going to get these, i.e., your footballers who aren't sneakerheads but just want to wear kicks for the sake of wearing them, and.
So we can have Marcus Rashford doing keepy-ups again like he did in the Dior.
Yeah.
Jordan 1s.
It's a frustration, isn't it? Well, I wouldn't, you know what? I wouldn't take anything away from Rashford, to be fair. Anybody
it's fair. He gets
stick it up their arse.
Yeah.
Rashford can get away.
My dilemma always is I'm really into, I buy into the hype a lot. So if they're really rare, that makes me want them more. If let's say they were like, okay, there's 500,000 Fragment Jordan 1 highs dropping, I'd be like, I actually want them a little bit less now.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard.
That's
what you want is you want low stock and you want to just hit one. That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, just completely off topic this now. And it is completely off topic. And I was only thinking about this last night. Obviously, like NBA UK fans, it's got quite big now. Obviously, it's got a big following and stuff on Twitter. And everybody kind of gets involved in kind of the NBA UK community, but I think that filters down from yourselves. But what made you, Bryn, just one day go, I'm going to do this on Twitter, I'm going to start this page, and I'm going to start this. What was the kind of light bulb moment where you thought, there's a market here for this, and we need to gather the troops?
Yeah, it wasn't so much market in terms of, it was more. So basically, Dean's definitely heard this story at least 4 times. I was at uni, went on a night out, came back about 4 a.m, stuck on BT, and it was like the young Oklahoma City Thunder that were I don't know who they were playing, but it was KD and Westbrook when they were literally babies.
Yeah.
And me and my mate were watching it like 4 a.m. with like chips on her chest, like one eye open. I was just watching Westbrook and I was like, what on earth is this? Like, who is this guy? Like, this is absolutely unbelievable. So a couple of days later, I watched a few more games and I was like, I wonder if there's anyone that I can like chat to about this, because none of my housemates actually want to talk about. Even the lad I was watching it with wasn't really interested in chatting it with me. So hopped on and there was nothing. There was no official NBA UK account. There wasn't really anything that I could see where people were just like talking about basketball in the UK, and I didn't really feel like I was knowledgeable enough to just like hop on to people in the US's sort of feed. So I literally set it up, and anyone that followed it in the early days will see that it was just like really tin pot, like logo on words, and just me tweeting my thoughts first person, very much. But it did get a decent amount of followers, just because I think there was a few more people that were just in the same position. Yeah. And what really helped was there's a company called Pitch. They still have a lot to do with the NBA. Yes. So they got in touch with me once I got to sort of like 500 or 600, because that was quite big for UK accounts at the time. And they were like, do you want to come down to these events? And then they invited me to the sort of media passes to the games and stuff. And it kind of grew from there, really. But yeah, it was literally just a drunken night. And then my passion grew more because I went to work in Chicago, and it was like when the Bulls were just sort of up and coming in their peak. So that's why I'm a Bulls fan, because I kind of hooked onto that. I've watched Westbrook a couple of times and was like, right, this Oklahoma City team are pretty cool. But then spending 2 summers in Chicago and Derrick Rose was just like coming through. I was like, this has got to be my team. Like I've got an affiliation with the city, and that team kind of made me love basketball, but didn't really kick off to what it was now until I asked other people to help me. Firstly, Dean and a guy called Luke Hatfield is a friend of mine that used to run Bouncy Orange Ball. That's not going anymore because he stepped away from basketball. But then I think Dean will say again that I will agree in terms of our greatest free agency day was we literally had a little chat and we're like, right, Luke's stepping away. Me and you can't really do this because we're both working full time. Who is it who gets in? Who is it who engages with us? And
trifecta.
Bit of a crack, yeah. And literally dropped all 3 of the lads, Rich, and Jimmy, a DM, and they were all just like, I did say to them, look, this is a commitment in terms of I won't demand anything from you, but there will be no pay involved.
Yeah.
You will get hooked into it and spend hours of your own personal time because I know how much you like basketball.
Yeah.
I'll try and get you as many opportunities as possible in terms of like NBA and going to things, but there's not a penny I can promise you. I'd say Dean, I saw him nodding. That's definitely where it kind of really took off. And the lads have been amazing at sort of pulling it all together since. And I would say that that's where the sort of community thing comes from. I wouldn't say that I personally drove that. At the start, it was me just wanting to chat to people. And then once there was more of a team, I think that community sort of came from everybody having their own connections and pulling people together.
But like you said, that when the community started to build was when you built your own community, your community of you, G, Rich, and Jimmy. That was your community. Do you know what I mean? And then from that, you see now, like you said, you was one of the first Twitter pages to have a UK page, basketball page. Look at all the UK basketball pages that are filtered off the NBA UK fans page. Bucks UK, Suns UK, Nets UK, Bulls UK. Obviously, that's Jimmy. Shout out Jimmy. All these pages that have come off the back of what you guys have done. So you need to be commended because, like you say, it's easy for me to do what I do because at the end of the day, I get paid from doing the Throwback store.
Yeah.
That's easy. Like there's gain, there's financial gain for me. What you guys do is selfless and thankless at times because, as I do, I get a lot of shit off people. I
agree, but at the same time, like I'd probably say I'm probably one of the luckiest out of all 5 of us. I mean, I've done things like
you've had.
Like I'd never imagined, like interviewed NBA legends and then like I know I joke about it, but I went to Athens. Like that's mad.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
He's lucky that I'm a teacher on that one.
Is that what it was? Is it because you couldn't go, so you had to send Dean? You had to send the replacement in.
Dean, do you fancy all expenses paid trip to Athens to go and talk hoops? Yeah.
Well, the thing was, we thought it was London, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like we thought it was London. Like they messaged like, oh, we need someone. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I can probably get days off work. So I was like, oh, I'm off that weekend. I'll try and get the Monday, Tuesday. Got them locked in. I was like, yeah, I'm available. And the guy was like, no worries. Can you tell me where you're traveling from and we'll sort your travel? I was like, yeah, sweet. And then he's like, have you got a passport? What was this guy on? Like, where does he think I live?
Bryn's like, I feel a cold. I feel like I've got a bit of a cold coming on.
I was thinking, where does he think I live? And then he was like, oh, we're going to Athens, but obviously it's to announce the cover star, but we can't tell you who it is. It's like,
so which 2K was this?
I'm an NBA fan and an NBA page, mate. Like, unless it's Georgios Kostopolakis, I was like, you ain't gonna shock me.
Yeah. So what 2K was it?
2K19.
Oh, was it? So have they kind of knocked all these Athens trips on the head since they sent you there? Is that what it is?
No, they've done like they did other trips. They just it's a logistical thing. But yeah, we didn't get a chance to go to Brooklyn or LA.
It's
but we have seen.
Isn't it? We'll send you Athens, but you're not coming to Brooklyn.
Yeah, but no, kind of back to what you were saying about community. I think it is selfless, and I think the biggest thing that comes from the five of us is we are selfless. Yeah. Like, you know, we get inboxes daily from media outlets, companies. We have quite a firm stance on the fact that we won't promote gambling.
Yeah.
That's something that we made a conscious decision, and everything is discussed between the five of us.
Which is,
if somebody has a concern about it, it's like, well, why? And then we'll listen to it. And if there's somebody doesn't feel right about it, generally we go with like, do you know what? Like, if you don't feel right about it, that's fine. But, without mentioning names of like people, like, with things going on in the news, and we've had like American stations contact us like, oh, we want to talk to a British fan about what it's like for this. When we're like, actually, do you know what? Like, we love that. We would love to, but we actually feel like there's a guy based in the UK that deserves that opportunity more.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of like pass their details on. And probably to an extent, we are cutting our nose off to spite ourselves, but
yeah,
we would change. Like we do it because like we adopted maybe 2.5 years ago, like by the fans, for the fans. Like ultimately that's what we are. We are fans. And like, we're coming out of lockdown properly. Everything seems to be a little bit okay, maybe, according to people.
Yeah.
We'll start to look at doing what we were building on last year. And what we were building on last year compared to where we are now is mad.
Yeah.
I mean, we've probably gained about 2,500-3,000 followers in the 12 months since we last looked at doing a watch party, and we had 100 people nearly coming to that. So, 2022, I'm gonna need to have a word of Eddie Hearn and find out what dates he's got the O2.
Yeah.
And what dates we've got the O2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And like what you touched on there, like the watch parties and all that stuff that was kind of in the and shout out to Rich Barrett for everything he did on like Instagram Live during lockdown. Like, he put hours and continues to. But I think more so when people needed consistency, when people needed an outlet, he definitely gave NBA fans an outlet and a voice as well, because it was a different team every week. So all these teams, even teams like the Orlando Magic, which nobody cares about, and the Celtics, obviously Rich is a Celtics fan, like nobody cares about them either.
Equally, Orlando Magic, probably the best live at 5.
Yeah, I know.
Like we got secret MJ stories like that don't happen.
No.
But no, I mean, like we'll come to sort of the end of the pod in a minute anyway. But it has been like to look back like 3-4 years ago and think that the Throwback store wasn't really a thing, and NBA UK fans was just kind of like ultimately a couple of guys in their bedroom occasionally going to some events.
Yeah.
Talking about basketball, to know that now we get credited by a lot of the UK accounts as like, these are the guys that helped out.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing in seeing the likes of, Mo on Sky Sports. And do you know what? Like, it's on the up and up, and it's building, and like, it's an honor to be part of it. And
definitely.
Yeah. Like,
on the
it's an honor to have Bryn on, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's like me basketball brother.
Yeah.
Like, it's great to be able to. It's the first time we've ever done a pod together, which is like mad to think in the close to 5-6 years that we've been doing this, like that we haven't. And it is obviously, affected by the fact that he decided to bugger off to the desert. But
yeah, it's all right. You just go and enjoy the sun, and we'll slum it here and go to the events with NBA superstars. Oh God, isn't it terrible? Hell.
Yeah, it's an honor to be on, guys. To be honest, it's been time. I've been enjoying the episodes. Just really quickly on that selfless part, all I'll say is like it. I would say we are pretty selfless, but I think that comes from the fact that none of us are in it for ourselves. Like none of us are trying to be sort of NBA stars because of it. Yeah. So we're more than happy. And to be fair, I wouldn't say we do get credits in terms of all of those sort of team specific accounts. Lots of them guys will turn around and say this account exists because of NBA UK fans. So that makes all of the sort of hours that are put in sort of easy, and there's a lot of people that are willing to give gratitude. So that's a really nice side of it. Yeah,
definitely. It's like, just kind of to touch on the same thing, it's like the Throwback store in a way. Like all the kind of jersey selling pages that have come since I started doing it, a lot of them, Elliot specifically, because I do spend a lot of time with Elliot personally in my personal life, away from business. But a lot of them will say, the reason I started is because I seen you doing the Throwback store. And do you know what? If somebody does the same thing that I do and they can put a couple of quid in the pocket and make life a little bit easier, that's the biggest impact I feel I've had, is that I can help. If me doing what I've done can help somebody else make a little bit of money and make life a little bit easier, then it's job done, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I never had ideas of grandeur and like selling to NBA players and Premier League players and doing all that kind of stuff. But along the way, if you put the hard work in, and like when I'm not in work, I'm spending 5-6 hours in my storage unit on my own, taking pictures, and it's not nice. It's certainly not nice in this heat when you're sweating, but you put that hard work in, like you guys have done as well, over a consistent period of time. It's only a matter of time before opportunities come. It's the old saying of like, opportunities are when preparation meets opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. You just put the hard work into, the opportunities are always going to come because people see that. And I think that's what we've all got. We've all got that passion for basketball. And although we're putting hard work in, never feels like work, does it? Never feels like work. You're just doing something you love, and that's the beauty of it all. And like, having you on has been a pleasure for me, because there's a million, like we were saying, then there's a million NBA accounts now, all doing great stuff, team-specific stuff. But I wanted to get the reason why all them are here. And ultimately, if you hadn't have started that page, we wouldn't have this massive community that we've got that's unbelievable. So kudos to you for doing that initially, because like I say, I'd never met Dean, who were class as one of my good friends. Obviously, me and you speak quite a bit, Bryn. Me and Rich speak. Obviously, Elliot's a good friend. And ultimately, that's what it's all about. It's meeting people. It's having something in common. Whether we don't support the same team, whether we do, it's the banter. And you starting what you started has built friendships. And I know it sounds a little bit cheesy and everything, but that is an amazing thing. So
I agree. It's the whole point of it. Yeah, that was the whole.
That's the legacy of NBA UK fans, isn't it? It's the friendships that have been built through it and off the back of it.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
Really appreciate it. Really, very kind words. Appreciate it.
No. Definitely that, like I say, like, that's what it's all about. It's that kind of support network that we need, especially coming out of the shit time everybody's had. But anything else? What else have you got?
That's it. Do you know what? Like, I think we'll leave it on that, because that is a beautiful note. And it's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Always.
We will be probably back for episode 43 in a couple of weeks. It probably won't be next week, because there isn't really much to talk about after free agency, but you never know. We might find another guest floating around.
Yeah.
And we'll hit you up with that. But once again, thank you, B Coop, for joining us, the chef, the cook lord. the man, the myth, the legend. It's been an honor. Mr. Mark Murray, I love you.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but it is actually quite fun to do a podcast with you.
Yeah. Well, passes an hour done it, if nothing else, you know.
And we will see you on episode 43. And good luck to everyone attempting to get any Jordan 1 fragments. If you want to sell them just above retail, let Mark know. He can do an IT kind of deal with you. He'll buy it retail and give you a signed jersey.
It'll be my signed jersey, though, so you'll probably end up
if I get it, I'll give you them for retail, and you can offload that Ben Gordon you've been trying to sell for 2.5 years.
Brilliant. Right, we'll leave it there. We shall see everybody on episode 43. Peace.